Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Eretz Yisrael. We're broadcasting from America, from one of my favorite Breslov shuls, Breslov, New Hempstead, Baruch Hashem. Parsha V'eschanan, Tovshin, Pei, Vav. This week, we have, today actually, is the yahrzeit of the Arizal and the yahrzeit of my Rebbe, Horavichiel Mechel, Rebbe Shuadov, the Levi, Zichron Levracha. First, we'll speak a little bit about the Parsha, and then we'll speak a little bit about them. This word V'eschanan is an extraordinary, holy word. Every word in the Torah is very holy, but this word V'eschanan, the Rashi Hakadosh tells us that it refers to matnas chinam, and Rashi says an incredible, important thing that relates to all of us. Afal pi sheyesh lehem letzadikim litlois b'maseim tovim, even though it would be legitimate for tzadikim to use their good deeds as a means of activating Hashem's grace and Hashem's kindness and everything, because tzadikim are moiser nefesh for Hashem. They really give a lot to the relationship. Ein mevakshim eis hamokoim elo matnas chinam. They only ask for free gift. They never use their qualities or the good things they did as a means of putting it kaviochel in Hashem's face and saying, Hashem, I did this and this, so give me X and Y. They ask for matnas chinam. If they ask for matnas chinam, how much more so should we know that when we're asking Hashem for things, that it should always be pleading and asking Hashem, even if I'm not deserving and if I'm not worthy, you have on this oitzar matnas chinam that the Torah speaks about, that Hashem can even give to those who haven't earned, who aren't deserving. As the pasuk says, "V'chanoisi es asher ochain, v'richamti es asher arachim." And here I heard a beautiful chiddush from my Rebbe Rav Rosenfeld Zichron Levracha. People say those words and they don't really know what it means, what it's referring to. V'chanoisi es asher ochain. I will use grace for the one who I'm going to use grace. V'richamti, and I'll have rachmanis on the one who I'll have rachmanis. What does that mean? Example: a person comes to Hashem on Sunday morning and says, Hashem, I know I did certain things that you don't approve of. I did the wrong things. I apologize, and I'm going to try my best not to repeat it. That's tshuva. That's tshuva, regret for the past and accepting upon myself for the future. Hashem, who knows the future, knows that I'm going to be back on Wednesday morning with the same thing. That even though I said I'm going to try not to do it, I am going to do it again. So Hashem says, V'chanesi, on Sunday morning, I show chen, grace, eis asher ochain, to a person I know is going to be right back here a few days later, he's going to need it again. V'richamti, I show rachmanis, eis asher arachim, and somebody, Hashem tries to judge it, ba'asher hu shel. Right now, the person is sincere, he wants to be good. We go by that. The fact that I can see into the future, we don't use that. We don't use that against the person, chas v'shalom. That's one item. And interesting that Rashi Hakadosh says that this is one of 10 different terms that are used in the Torah to refer to tefillah. Tefillah is so big that there are 10 different verbs used throughout the Torah regarding tefillah. And in the Sifsei Chachamim, he does us a favor. This is mentioned in the Zohar HaKodesh. It might be mentioned in the Gemara also. What these 10 are. Shava, we have throughout Tehillim, Shavasi Eilecha Savai, Tza'aka, Na'aka, Hine Shamati Es Nakas B'nei Yisrael, Pitzor, Vayiftzor. Yiftzor means to really push hard, begging Hashem for something. By Yitzchak and Rivka, it uses that lashon when they were pleading with Hashem to have children. Kriya, Nepoil, to fall before Hashem in tefillah. Pigia, by Yaakov Avinu it says Vayifga b'mokoim, and the Gemara says Ein pigia el tefillah, and then Tchina. 10 different terms that are used, and the Zohar HaKodesh goes into detail into what's unique about each one of these. Each one obviously has something unique, or different than the others. In addition, it's brought that the word V'eschanan is bigematria tefillah, to show that Moshe Rabbeinu went the full gamut of tefillah. That when he wanted to get to Eretz Yisrael, He didn't leave anything out in tefillah. Everything from A to Z, everything that could possibly include it in tefillah, he did in pleading to Hashem to be zocher to get to Eretz Yisrael. The term tefillah now, we know that yesterday was Shabbos Kodesh, and in Shabbos, the entire Shabbos is called Eis Rotzain. We say on Friday night, B'ahav Uvarotzain in Shemon Esrei. We say it in each one of the Shemon Esreis. We say it in Kiddush Friday night, B'ahav Uvarotzain in Chilanu. Eis Rotzain, a time when Hashem is very, very accepting to receive our tefillah, our tshuva. So, but even Shabbos, it's levels. There's levels, and Shabbos Mincha is the ultimate Eis Rotzain of the whole week. When we say that one time a week, that we say that pasuk Vanis Filosi L'cha Hashem Eis Rotzain when they open the Aron Kodesh. So, also Shabbos at Mincha. Afterwards, we say Tzidkoscha. Unless it's a time when we're not saying Tachnun, we say 3 Tzidkoschas. Tzidkoscha is something you usually say when somebody passes away. Tziduk Hadin. So the Zohar HaKadosh tells us that there were 3 great tzaddikim that passed away Shabbos at Mincha. Moshe Rabbeinu, Yosef HaTzadik, and David HaMelech. These 3 great tzaddikim. There's a remez to this in the Torah when Yaakov Avinu was mispalel, Hatzileni no miyad ochi miyad Esav, miyad, Moshe, Yosef, David. This incredible power opposing Esav. So now these three, Moshe Rabbeinu, we said that tefillah, there's 10 verbs that the Torah uses for tefillah, and 10 means from top to bottom, the 10 midos of Hashem. There are 3 tzaddik, these 3 tzaddikim, Moshe Rabbeinu, Yosef HaTzadik, and David HaMelech, who all passed away on Shabbos at Mincha. They represent the entire ladder of Kedusha, the entire spectrum of Kedusha. How do we see it? Moshe Rabbeinu is the one who said, Ato horeiso lo das ki Hashem olekim. Moshe Rabbeinu is Das, he's the Torah, he's the one who gave us the Torah, and Das is Koilel, the 2 above it, Chachma, Bina, and Das. Moshe Rabbeinu represents the top 3 midos there, Chachma, Bina, and Das. His name, Moshe, Rabbeinu, I'll bring some Kutimran, the name Moshe, that shin in the middle, has 3 heads, which represent Chachma, Bina, and Das. The remaining letters, the Mem and Hey, are Bigematria Adam. And Rabbeinu Zal brings some Kutimran from one of the Sforim, that the word Adam is 3 times Yud K. The letters Yud Hey of Hashem's name are the letters that represent Seichel, Chachma, and Bina. So Moshe Rabbeinu, in Moshe Rabbeinu's name, the Mem Hey, where Moshe Rabbeinu said, remember when the Jews were challenging him, he said, V'nachnu mo, we're nothing, ki salinu aleinu, that you're complaining to us. I'm not the boss, Hashem is in charge. So that word mo is Adam, 45 is the word Adam, and Rabbeinu Zal says, the term Adam, when we call a person an Adam, we're talking about someone who has human intellect. A person who behaves like a behemoth is a behemoth b'tzura sodom. Looks like a human being, but is not. He's a behemoth b'tzura sodom. So the term Adam refers to seichel, chachma, bina, and das. That's why it's 3 times Yud K, referring to the three parts of das. So that's Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is the upper 3 spheres. Yosef is tzaddik. Yosef HaTzadik, which is Yesoid, the midah of Yesoid. V'tzadik Yesoid Olam, it's a pasuk, which means he's Koilel, the 6. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, Yesoid. That's why Yosef is Bigematria 6 times Yud K Vav K, to show that's who he is. He's those 6. And David is Melech. David is Malchus. David HaMelech. So you have all these 3 tzaddikim, Moshe, Yosef, David, represent the full spectrum, all 10 spheres, the full ladder of Kedusha. And that's what's going on Shabbos at Mincha. When we say Vanis Filosi L'cha Hashem Eis Rotzain, when we say Tzidkoscha, mentioning those 3 tzaddikim, we're tapping into the full ladder of Kedusha in terms of tzaddikim. Now, it says here that Moshe Rabbeinu said, Hashem, just a second, please allow me to go into Eretz Yisrael. And Rashi HaKadosh points out, why is he asking? Hashem promised that you're not going in. So Rashi HaKadosh says, but he says, Vo'eschan Hashem bo'es hahi. I started davening for this at a particular time. What was the particular time? Liachar shekovashti eretz sichon v'oig. After I succeeded, Hashem gave me the privilege of defeating Sichon and Oig, who were parked right at the entrance to Eretz Yisrael. All the other kings had hired them, that if the Jews get past us, you guys who are the two most powerful ones, you be there to make sure the Jews don't get into Eretz Yisrael. So after I defeated them, Dimisi Shemo Hutar Aneder, I thought maybe Hashem released the vow that he made that I can't get in. So that's why I started asking for this. This Sichon and Oig, who we read about in the last Parshios of Chumash Bamidbar, there's an incredible secret regarding this. Again, they were at the entrance to Eretz Yisrael. What do we have? There were 2.5 Shvatim that said to Moshe Rabbeinu, we have a problem. We have a lot of cattle. And therefore, we want to live in Muncie. We want to live in Miami. We don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael. We want to stay out here. A person would say, you're nuts, you're crazy. Make a barbecue, get rid of the cattle and come into Eretz Yisrael. Hashem said Eretz Yisrael is toiva oretz ma'oit. It's the best of the best. That's why you don't. So again, the Arizal gives incredible chidushim secrets that they understood, and why this number 2.5 Shvot. It's like a strange number. Ruvain, God, and Chatzi Shevet Menashe. Why 2.5? The answer is they knew that just like a Jewish home needs a mezuzah at the entranceway, there's a pasuk La Pesach Chatos Roivetz, that wherever there's a constriction, wherever there's tzimtzum, the Sitra Achra lurks over there. When there's a wide opening, that's not for them. When there's a tzimtzum constriction, that's what invites them, that's what brings them. So an entranceway is usually a constriction.
Is that to say that mezuzah is fighting against the Sitra Achra at every door?
So therefore we need a mezuzah there. We need a mezuzah there to oppose them. So some people ask the question, then the mezuzah should be on the left side because that's where they are. The answer to that is, if you recall, by Shlomo HaMelech, when he had a whole interaction with Ashmedai, he used his ring when he was able to show his ring, especially to Ashmedai, that's what neutralized him. So the mezuzah is on the right side to neutralize the opposing forces on the left side. So to each shevet, Hashem's name Yud Kei Vav Kei has 12 combinations. When you have 4 letters and 2 of the letters are identical, 4 letters usually you can make 24 combinations. Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud, there's 24 combinations. But because in Yud Kei Vav Kei the Hey is twice, so you can only make 12 combinations, which corresponds to the 12 months of the year. Each month corresponds to one, and the 12 Shvatim. Each Shevet, Hashem put his good housekeeping seal on them. Hashem put his name on them. Hora Uveini, Hashimoini, the Hey in front, the Yud in back. So which means each Shevet is a Yud Kei Vav Kei. 2.5 Shvatim is 2.5 times Yud Kei times 26, which is Bigematria Mezuzah. Exactly, the word Mezuzah. They understood that their mission is to be the mezuzah Ever Ayarden at the entranceway. They're going to act as the mezuzah for Eretz Yisrael. Now, if you take a look at your mezuzah, all of us that have mezuzahs in our doorpost, in the back of the mezuzah there are a few names of Hashem. There's the name Shin Daled Yud, which is Shomer Dalsas Yisrael, and then there's this other stuff that most people can't figure out what it is. Chaf Vav Zayin Vav, and then Beis Mem Vav Chaf Samach Zayin, and then again Chaf Vav Zayin Vav. What is that? The answer is here again. The Zohar Kodesh and especially the Arizal teach us all of the codes, different codes of the names of Hashem. One of the codes of the name of Hashem is where you take the letters that precede or come after the name of Hashem. Hashem's name Yud Kei Vav Kei. There's a name of Hashem that instead of the Yud you put a Tes, the letter before it. Instead of a Hey, it's a Dalet. Tes, Dalet, and these are mentioned in the Zohar Kodesh, and they bring psukim in the Torah where these names of Hashem appear, etc. So Chaf Vav Zayin Vav is the letters after Yud Kei Vav Kei. That other name, Beis Mem Vav, is the letters that come after Elokeinu. In Shema Yisrael, that first sentence of Shema Yisrael, we have Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. You have 3 names of Hashem. the names in back of the mezuzah are the letters that come after Yud Kei Vav Kei, after Elokeinu, after Hashem. Why? Why? The answer is because there are these two forces of Tumah called Sichain and Oig. And they existed during the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu defeated them physically, but there are still these spiritual powers called Sichain and Oig. In order to neutral, and it says in the beginning of Parshas Balak, it says that Balak was nervous. He was nervous. It says Vayogar Balak mipnei midyan. That's why the Parsha. To take a look at it, Vayogar means he was afraid. He was worried because he heard that the Jews defeated Sichain and Oig. So he knew these guys are serious. These guys are really powerful. They're going to take us next. They're going to destroy us. So it's brought that the word Yogar, Reish Yud Gimel, is Bigematria Sichain and Oig. That's what he was afraid of. The fact that he saw that they defeated them. These three names of Hashem in back of your mezuzah are Bigematria Sichain and Oig. This Chaf of Zayin Vav Beisa are exactly to show that this is, again, just like they were at the entranceway to Eretz Yisrael, every Jewish home needs a protection against them. The mezuzah, the 2.5 Shvatim, which is Bigematria mezuzah, all of these things are the Shmira. Just a second, we'll take a look to get it right. Balak. Yeah, Vayogar Moyav Mipnei Ha'om Ma'oid. That the nation of Moab was very worried about the situation. And it says again, because they heard that the Jews had already defeated these guys, so now they're very powerful. While we're on the topic of mezuzah and all of these things, the Shulchan Aruch says that there's a medrash that says by Esav, that when he sold the birthright, when he sold the Bechorah, it says, Vayochal, Vayesht, Vayokom, Vayelech, he ate and he drank and he got up and he left. Every word in the Torah is $1 billion. All of these extra, what do we think? He sat there for the rest of his life? What's Vayokom, Vayelech? So on each word, the Medrash has a drush. He ate without making a bracha before. He drank without making an after bracha. He got up, Vayelech, he left, he didn't kiss the mezuzah. Didn't kiss the mezuzah? Esav didn't kiss the mezuzah? What are you talking about here? Talking about a murderer and a noyef and everything. Person would say Hitler came into a room and he left and he didn't kiss the mezuzah. So the answer is that this side of mezuzah is has incredible secrets to it. In the Chumash, it doesn't use the word mezuzah, it uses the word mezuzos. Uchsaftom al mezuzos beisecha mezuzos. The Zohar HaKadosh says that the word mezuzos is two words, zaz, maves, removes death. It removes death from the house. It has all of those names of Hashem in it. The names of Hashem are life. That's life. Hashem gives life, which is the opposite. It removes death from the place. It's a shmira. It's a protection. So now the Zohar HaKadosh says, if you look more carefully, this word mezuzos has a mem in the beginning, a tuf at the end. The middle letters are Zayin Vav, 7 and 6, which is 26, which is the letter Aleph. The letter Aleph. Why? Because the letter Aleph has a Yud on top, a diagonal line in the middle, and an upside down Yud on bottom. The letter Aleph is like Yud Kei Vav Kei. So that the word mezuzos, we have the mem, we have the tov, and we have an Aleph. The word emes. Titein emes liYaakov. Yaakov Avinu is emes. If Yaakov Avinu is emes, then Esav is sheker. That's why it's making a point of saying he left, he didn't kiss the mezuzah, because he's the antithesis of what a mezuzah is all about. A mezuzah is all about emes. A mezuzah is like a miniature Sefer Torah. Coming into my house or going out of my house, that I know that this is telling me my connection to Hashem, a special connection. And that's why this isn't just Stama Chasida Sheminin. The Ramah brings that a person leaving a house should kiss the mezuzah, that kind of thing. Put your hand on the mezuzah, kiss it. It's a special connection to the Torah.
So
Zuz Mavis, is that also like giving mazon to the Sitra Achra?
Excuse me?
Zuz Mavis also like giving mazon to Mavis?
Why?
Like my friend, and we give some to the other side to appease them.
Yeah. No,
So
that's
Zuz is like money. Zuz to the Mavis.
There's a chapter in Likutei Moharan where Rabbeinu Zal speaks about mezuzah related to money. Chapter 23. It says that that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi had a close relationship with one of the Roman dignitaries. So this Roman dignitary sent him like a precious stone, a super diamond. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, I think it was Rabbi Nasi, sent him a mezuzah. So he said, excuse me, I gave you something that cost like $3 million. Give me this parchment. He said, you can't give me something that I have to hire a whole security team to watch it. I gave you something that's going to watch over all of your possessions. You know, mezuzah is a shmira, tremendous shmira.
Rabbi,
Yes.
can you explain again how the mezuzah is 2626?
The middle the answer is the middle the word mezuzos. You have a mem in the beginning, you have a tuf at the end. The middle letters are zayin vav, zayin vav. 7 plus 6 and 7 plus 6, 13 plus 13, which is 26. And we know throughout the Zohar Kodesh that the letter Aleph sometimes represents the full name of Hashem. Because the letter Aleph, the way you draw it, it's a Yud on, in a Sefer Torah, it's a Yud on top, it's a diagonal line in the middle, which is like a Vav, and an upside down Yud on bottom. So Aleph is Yud, Vav, Yud, you know, that combination. So again, the mezuzah is the symbol of emes. I'm connecting to Hashem, who is emes, to the Torah, which is emes, to the tzaddikim, which is emes. And Esav is the antithesis of all of this. To say a few words, we have about 6 minutes left because Rabbi Riedi is going to be giving his shiur here now. A few words about the Arizal and about my Rebbe, Reb Mechel. The Gemara says that the relationship between a rabbi and a student should be smoil doiche yemin mekarev. Also with parents and children, smoil doiche yemin. There are parents, some of today's great geniuses, thinkers, that parents and this whole business about a parent being above a kid. You want to have a real good relationship. The kid should call the parent Harry and Jane. You know, first name relationship. That's friendship. That's bonding. But the Torah says something completely different. The Torah says a child needs to know that a parent is something, a different league of experience and knowledge and everything, etc. So the Torah says with the left hand, the weaker hand pushing away, meaning keeping a certain respectful distance. With the right hand, the stronger hand bringing close. The Hebrew word shodayim. When a baby nurses from the mother, they nurse from the shodayim. The word shodayim is smoil doicha yemin mekarev. That's a healthy relationship. By the Arizal, it's brought that Hashem told the Arizal, your mission is to teach Reb Chaim Vital. He's your student. He's going to be the one to document all of your teachings and present it to the world. So the Arizal sent him messages. In those days, they didn't have fax machines. They didn't have cell phones. He got messages in dreams and different things telling him to come, and he ignored it. He was pretty happy where he was in a sense. And then finally something happened. We ended up going to the Arizal, and it's brought that when he showed up, the Arizal kept the door closed. He didn't invite him in, and he went back to his hotel, and he realized that something's wrong here. And it says he burst into tears and he was crying and crying and crying to Hashem. And then he came back to the Arizal, and the Arizal said, I was Mekayim what the Torah says, Smoil doicha yemin mekarev. Now come, and I'm telling you that my focus is going to be specifically on you, to teach you everything that you want to hear, everything you want to know, etc., etc. And the Arizal did it to the fullest. And yet even there we see the danger. There were a few times that the Arizal was speaking and he was revealing very deep things, and he came to a certain place and he said, this we cannot reveal. We're not supposed. And Reb Chaim Vital says, oh good, that's what I want to know, because unfortunately that's our human nature, curious. We're curious, and especially when somebody tells us you can't have this, that generates a desire for it. Rabbeinu Zal said, Mayim genuvim yum toku, stolen waters are sweet. The fact that it's stolen makes it sweet. unfortunately. So Reb Chaim Vital pressed him, and the Arizal told him, don't. And he didn't get it. And he pressed, and the Arizal went on and said it, and then the Arizals lost a child in the process. And there were one or two incidents like this that took place. Rabbi Nachman once was speaking to his students. Rabbi Nachman went through certain tremendous difficulties in his life. He lost a child also, 2 children, I believe, and a lot of struggles and difficulties. And he once said, imagine if the Arizal, for revealing one secret, had to go through that. I, who am revealing to you so many secrets and giving you so much advice, so it's not such a chiddush why I'm going through all of this difficulty. And a person would say, but it doesn't make sense. This is what Hashem wants. Hashem wants it. The answer is, Rabbi, you're right. These are things that we cannot understand. How on one hand, he's doing a mitzvah, he's not doing something wrong, and yet there are boundaries, there are lines where if a person crosses a certain line, it's and these are things we need to know, the dangers in Yiddishkeit. The whole concept of emunas chachamim is defined in the Torah as loisasur yomen usmoil. Don't deviate to the right or to the left of what they're telling you. To the left, don't do less and don't do more. Don't try to be very good. If a tzaddik says, this is good, sometimes people want to do, I want to be more religious, and they don't realize that very often the more religious here ends up being less religious in something else. There's a balance, a healthy balance. We'll mention one story quickly with my Rebbe, Reb Mechel Zichron Livracha. He lived in Russia, in Ukraine, during communist times, when religion was a no-no. And the city that he lived in, there were about 100 Jewish families. 2 people were courageous enough to put up a sukkah. One was the rabbi, a Chabad rabbi from the city, and him, Reb Mechel. And he said that when it would rain, we know the halach is that when it rains, that hamitztayer poter min sukkah. If it's painful to be this blazing sun, you're exempt. So people normally, it rains, you go out of the sukkah, you go into your house. He said because he was living in communist Russia and was prevented from doing so many mitzvahs, he wasn't going to give it up. It's raining, he put on his raincoat, his boots and everything, and stay in the sukkah. And he would say to Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, you're staying here with me too. I'm in here, you're in here. No one's leaving. We're all here because the love for sukkah. And when he finally got to Eretz Yisrael, after 38 years of applying for a visa to leave and never giving up, 38 years begging Hashem to get to Eretz Yisrael, he got to Eretz Yisrael. He lived in Geula, Me'esham, that area, and he had a porch, and he was able to have a sukkah on his porch. And in Eretz Yisrael, usually doesn't rain on sukkahs, and he would always tell over this story, remembering, so now, I forgot the punchline. The last sukkahs that he was in Ukraine before he got out, he didn't have any sons, he had only daughters, and his daughters were in school, university, this, that. He had to put up the sukkah by himself. And in those days, it wasn't the sukkahs like we have today. You press a button and the sukkah goes up. In those days, you had to take boards and nail them, the whole deal. And he did this all himself, and he put up the sukkah, and it was getting close to Yom, maybe an hour or 2 before Yontif, and he's adjusting the schach. He's standing on a ladder, adjusting the schach by himself, and his wife is inside looking out from the window in the house, and suddenly there's a flood, like we had here yesterday. A mabul comes raining down, pouring, incredible rain, and he's trying to adjust the schach, and the whole thing collapses on him. The whole thing, he's on the ladder, the whole thing collapses on him. And he said there was a rain coming from heaven, and there was a rain coming out of my eyes, crying, desperation. This is one of the few things a sukkah, But again, he said the rain did its thing for a half hour, an hour, whatever it was. Afterwards, he ran to a store. Remember, this is communist Russia. And he bought strips of tar, like what you tar a roof with, those long, big, gigantic, and he wrapped it around the sukkah. Like that's what he scotch taped the sukkah with, in order to hold it together. And he said, ended up sitting in the sukkah, and when he got to Eretz Yisrael afterwards, every sukkah he would remind himself of what he went through there, like we remember Mitzrayim, remind himself of what the difficulties he went through there, and didn't give up, made it to Eretz Yisrael, and was to Hashem should help that all of us should make it to Eretz Yisrael at the right time. B'simcha b'yizochet to the Gula Shlema b'mher b'yameinu amen v'yamein. This was an introduction. Now we have the real deal.